Good morning, loved ones. I wonder, how are you doing? I'm wondering how we are all doing now that our country, our city, our church, our families, our individual lives have been now 8+ weeks in this time of, living lives that are moderated to one extent or another, trying to help collectively bring an end to this virus that has swept our country and the world. I don't know about you, but I have found that I'm becoming less and less patient. And with my lack of patience, I am becoming a little more irritable, a little more frustrated, a little more trending in the direction of being discouraged. And as so often happens, my devotional reading this morning, God in His sovereignty and His wisdom, well, He had Psalm 40 scheduled for me to read today. And I'm not going to read the entirety of the psalm, but I want to point out just a couple of thoughts. David is going through a difficult time. And in the middle of his difficulty, he does two things. He remembers God's past faithfulness, and he looks forward to God's future faithfulness. And so we begin in verse 1 where David says this, I waited patiently for the Lord, which is right now the difficulty that I'm having. I waited patiently for the Lord. He inclined to me and heard my cry. He drew me up from the pit of destruction, out of the miry bog. He set my feet upon a rock, making my steps secure. He put a new song in my mouth, a song of praise to our God. So at the front end of this psalm, David simply looks back to times when things were very difficult for him and that he waited. And in his waiting, God always came through. He interjected himself, he inserted himself into David's time of struggle, and he answered his prayer. He inclined himself in the past. He heard David's cry in the past. And after hearing, he drew him up in the past. He set him up in the past. He put within him a new song. And so he moves on. In verse 11, he says this of the Lord. As for you, O Lord, you will not restrain your mercy from me. Your steadfast love and your faithfulness will ever preserve me. And so here he's confessing that he has hope for the future. And already looking to the past. And then he went through just a series of struggles. And then he says, you're not going to refrain from caring for me. You're not going to withhold your hand from me for all time. There will come a day when you will insert yourself into my life again. You will, in the same way that you reached down to me when I was in the pit and drew me up and set me upon a foundation, you will again reach down from where you are to where I am. You will pull me out of the pit. You will set my feet upon a firm foundation so that I'm not shaken. And you will give me a new song of praise to you, O Lord. And because that is the case, David continues to pray. And he asks for the Lord to make that day today. He asks in his patience that he wouldn't have to be patient in waiting for God's answer much longer. Verse 13, he says, please, be pleased, O Lord, to deliver me. And here it is, O Lord, make haste to help me. He says basically the same thing in the last words of the psalm. Verse 17, you are my help right now, my deliverer. Do not delay. Oh my God. I love it. David is going through a time of distress. And I don't know how distressed you're feeling right now. I know I'm feeling it to some extent. And Psalm 40 came to me today as great help in my distress. And it put me in mind of times in our lives when I didn't think we were going to make it through. If you took a look at the situations of our life, there's no reason why we should have made it through those particular seasons. But God heard our cry. He reached down to us in our distress. and he brought us out, and he gave us songs of praise. And because that is the case right now as we're going through this season that seems to be drawing to an end, thank God. But even still, the opening up is slower than we want, and it's less broad than we want. But good news, God is with us. He's sustaining us right now. The one who has been faithful in the past, delivers from our past difficulties, is right now with us, encouraging us and building us and giving us a trust that grounds our patience as we wait for him to reach down into our present distress, whatever it may be, to pull us out of our present distress, to establish our feet upon a solid ground again, and to give us new words of praise to his name. And here's the good news. As we pray, Lord, don't withhold your hand from me. Help me, deliver me today. Do not restrain yourself. Do not delay any longer. This could be the day in which God reaches down into your particular life to bring you out of your particular distress that may or may not be associated with what's going on in our country right now. This could be the day. But if it's not, we have a sure hope that God is with us, that he is for us, and just as assuredly as he has helped us in the past, he will help us again. Be encouraged. Turn your attention to Psalm 40 and let it bless you.